afternoon, Tartaria, Australia. Campbell is actually in the house tonight. Hello, Campbell.
Outside the house, not in the backyard.
Yeah, he's stolen my spot. I hate recording
I
inside.
know. Yeah,
I'm being
I made it
courteous.
to the farm. Yeah, so hopefully no delays tonight because we're in proximity.
We are. So Campbell has arrived in northern New South Wales. How's it
Woohoo!
feel,
Oh,
buddy?
good. It's nice. Nice open spaces. Definitely a lot better than the suburbs, that's for sure. So it's good.
Yeah, man.
We have a big event coming up.
We do. Oh my God. You know how we don't
10
promote
days.
ourselves ever on this show? Like, let's just do it straight away.
Yes, we keep
This
forgetting.
next weekend, everyone, the 15th of April is our live event in Lismore. Tickets on sale through the website. We're really pumped. We've got a really cool lineup and a really cool show. And I tell you, I really have confidence that the information that's going to like flow through the speakers is going to be fucking awakening and divine. So I'm excited, Campbell.
Yes, it's going to be awesome. We've got Dale Holmes coming along, and we've got a bit of a surprise, which we're not going to tell you about. But I think it
It's
will blow
true.
your mind.
Yeah.
Some really and really sort of poignant to the Northern Rivers, right? It's very
Yep.
sort of very very based on this region. So completely different show. Every show we do is completely different, and this
Yep.
one's going to be tailored to the Northern Rivers and all the stuff
Yep.
that's gone on here recently. So if you can make it, get down and
Man.
say hello. There's still a few tickets left.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I always so pumped at our live events. There's just something about them that's just magical. They've never failed to be amazing. The vibe's always fantastic. Everyone's really high, really up, and it's just they're just such extraordinary events. I'm really proud of what happens with our amazing audience when they come together. It's just something you just don't see anywhere else. So I'm really excited. So if you can make it, Lismore.
Get your tickets. Links below.
So,
Come
buddy, it's Easter.
It's Easter.
Yeah, so we thought we
Easter.
might have a chat about a few things. As our
Yes, we
Easter
thought we would.
special, whatever the fuck that is, we don't even really know what is Easter. Just another one of
So,
these rituals that we all engage every year over and over again for our entire existence. Yes.
yep. And of course, everyone, especially children, right? Easter's about bunnies and eggs, apparently.
Bunnies and
But apparently it
eggs.
also came, apparently it came from the Bible. And it's to do with Jesus resurrecting himself after 3 days. And of course, holidays used to be holy
Mm.
days, and Easter with the 13-month calendar, and that would have fallen on the solstice going into spring,
Yeah, man.
where
Yep.
we have rebirth. So it's
Mm.
interesting that all these stories kind of line up with, the seasons and the changes. And
Yep.
we tend to have four sort of main holidays, holy days maybe, a year, and then we've got they're all on the near or on the solstices and equinoxes,
Yep.
which I
Yep.
find interesting.
Well,
Um,
sorry, go on.
I was
Finish.
going to say, but we had a bit of a listen to JCK the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, man. She had a great podcast on. Highly recommend it. It was that's some really excellent, enlightening information. Just these beautiful intelligent pathways are opening up in some of this information that's starting to flow through now that we've sort of at this level of our consciousness. And gosh, it was good. It was all about basically the overlay of the psychotic, psychiatric, mental health, bipolar, schizophrenia, all of that realm, into the psychopaths, into that genre of, I guess, information of the lunatic asylums. And what actually having this amazing, do you remember his name? What was his
Jerry
name?
Mazinski.
Jerry Mazinski, that's right. This amazing being that's been through and looked at it with open eyes and not just accepted the information he was forced to learn for 6, 7, 10 years, whatever it was. And yeah, I mean, he was really getting to know what these voices were that were following these individuals and telling them to do things, and started to look at some of the, I guess, consistencies within those voices. And yeah, concluded that we've definitely got a demonic overlay happening in this reality.
Yeah, well, in mental health, they tell
Mm.
everyone with voices that it's just a delusion. You're just hearing, just hearing voices.
Yeah.
And as you said, Jerry challenged that, and he actually asked his patients if he could talk. He actually talked to these voices, and they responded to him. And at one point, one of the patients actually walked into his office and said, "The voices want to talk to you," and he sat down and talked to the voices. So
Yeah.
that's not a delusion. That's not voices in your head. And this was off multiple, patients, not just one patient or anything. So that sort of made us think, right?
Yeah.
What is the light? What is the dark? What is this dark
Yeah.
energy? And obviously, we have, this sort of narrative of religions, I guess, being the light, being from the creator, being from source, and then a narrative of whatever you want to call it, the dark side, Satanism. Can I say that? Who, I mean, basically, it's not too dissimilar. They have their rituals, they have their beliefs, they have their congregations, and all these things, but they just come from a different perspective. Um, and then we obviously have the dark entities that are invading people and making them do horrible things, right?
Mm.
But mostly they're just making them do horrible things to themselves, really.
Mm.
These voices tend to just, it's like the little we sort of that picture of the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, and they're both sort
Mm.
of talking to you. So yeah, we thought we'd sort of delve into what are these voices? Are they? I mean, because there's been a lot of research on entities. There's been a lot of talk of getting entities detached from people, negative entities. All this channeling. People are starting to say, "Hang on, who are these people that we're channeling? Who are these entities? Are they good? Are they bad? We don't know." So this world we live in is it's clearly not just physical, right? We're being
Mm.
affected majorly by these unseen forces. We
Yeah.
see the effects, the symbolism, all this kind of stuff, but we don't see, demons walking down the street, do we? Or, saviors for that matter. We just see that the results of these kind of belief systems.
Well, I mean, I find this conversation really fascinating. Go and check out the podcast, anyone who wants some more detailed information. You're most likely are going to buy the book because I'm just very fascinated. But I guess what it started to make me look at Campbell was, we've got this overlay in our realm since the reset, or since sort of our understanding of the last couple of 100 years. One is of the dark, the satanic, the devilish and demonic, and one is of the light and the God and the good and the angels. And and we can really see it playing out right now around the world, like really strongly since disclosure, since the COVID stuff and disclosure happened really powerfully for a lot of people. You start to see this real movement towards Christianity, and this real like juxtaposition between like Satanism. And I started to look at, because one of my dearest, oldest, bestest friends in the whole wide world, who's been on this disclosure pathway with me since we were like 21, um, has recently recently engaged Christianity very powerfully, has taken Jesus Christ into her life. And I've never seen her more happy. I've never seen her more grounded. I've never seen her more content with life. And she has overlaid everything that we've looked at with disclosure onto the Christian story, the Christian narrative, and found like an overlay that matches for her and has brought her a lot of well-being and peace and groundedness. And so of course, being that she's been on this journey with me forever, I've definitely had to like really sit down and look at what is Christianity. Is that the pathway? Is that the good, the light, the God pathway? Because, and the reason you brought up the JCK podcast, which we found fascinating, was when these voices were, when the being with the voices in their heads were challenged to read certain psalms from the Bible, the demonic presence, the voices freaked out. They hated it. They hated hearing words from the Bible. So then you think, okay, well, there must be some gravity to this book,
Mm,
these words, this pathway that is so powerful it can actually freak out the demonic energies. And
mm,
then you've got to look at, we don't, in the last couple of years since all this has happened, we're not hearing reference to the Quran or to Hinduism or to Buddhism. We're not hearing references to the other religions in the same way we are Christianity. It's not been juxtaposed the same way. And of course, you know, like Buddhism, I was a Buddhist nun, and I can pretty much say, and we'll talk about the fact that I think Buddhism is probably the worst of all of the religions, because it actually puts people into a state of non-creation, a state of no attachments, non-creation to reality, to life. And so they are basically null and void as beings. So, and also we know that, you know, the darker history of the Dalai Lama, and also the tunnels under Tibet, and the connection with the reptilians, and all of that stuff with Buddhism. And then if you look at from the Christian perspective, or shall we say the patriotic Christian perspective, all the other religions are demonic. You know, they're jinn, they're blue people, they're, you know, seven-armed gods, they're animal gods, they're, you know, it's a different realm. So long introduction there, but like in conclusion of that conversation, we were looking at, I guess, the container of this realm. And on one side, we have the darker consciousness, the satanic consciousness. On the other side, we have the Christian consciousness, the lighter consciousness. And they seem to be, well, we are just going to theorize here as a concept that if you stand in the middle where we all currently stand, as what we would call moving towards sovereign beings, then both of them seem to juxtapose themselves so perfectly in so many ways, opposite side of the same coin almost, that one could argue that Christianity is just the polarized presentation of Satanism, and part of the game of the frequency of this realm. Throwing it out there.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing about Christianity is we all know, you know, the history, right, of the Christianity. It's not good. It's not a good history.
No, it's not a good history.
So, you know, that sort of made us, you know, like, is this really the light? And with the Bible verses, I'll just say too that it was mainly that they mentioned, what is it, Psalm 23:91 and the Lord's Prayer. So we're not sure if it's the whole Bible, if you just start reading, if it works, you know, but definitely some of the stuff in there, just like, these evil entities don't like. So what does that mean? Does that mean that there is a God and that they're sensing that and they're the devil? Because, you know, we know about what happened, right, with this reset, right? 1800s, people disappear, people appear, and mental asylums that are chock-a-block full of people that are basically being put through MK Ultra. Let's just say it like it is. And when you go through that process, you're open to entities attaching to you, and, you know, dark entities. So was that a way, you know, first of all, of them bringing in, you know, this dark energy, and so, and then we've got Christianity,
we did a whole show on that.
That's been co-opted as well. So, because what we were talking about is, obviously, you know, before all this thing happened, right, kids rebel against religion, right? So they go out and they drink and they, you know, do all their stuff and everything they're not supposed to do, and go to the opposite side, right, to what a lot of Christians would probably call Satanism, you know, like sleeping around, all this kind of stuff. And then in the last couple of years, it's got so extreme with certain agendas and, you know, certain people thinking they're other people, that it's got really, really crazy, like to the point where they're finding, you know, books in primary schools, right, that, you know, probably don't need to say anymore. And so what this is doing is, now what we're noticing is there's this massive Christian surge, which is, it's all based on, it's opposing what we've been shown, this what is, you know, satanic, this sort of trans am agenda is how we say. You know, and so the Christian, like you were saying, is the opposite to that. So now we're hearing, no, you can't, you know, only men and women, only this, only this. So
it's very moralistic, isn't it? Like what's come out of the last 2 years, and especially with the patriot movement being connected to that, like this Christian massive surge in Christianity for those who have rejected the left or rejected this dodgy satanic practices of Hollywood and the pedophile, all that stuff. There's been a massive return to Christianity, and like you see people like Jordan Peterson, who's been presented everywhere as sort of like the wise, intelligent, hyper intelligent counsel to the world, coming in from a very strong Christian perspective. The Daily Wire and is it Ben Sapporo?
Shapiro.
Yeah,
Shapiro.
Shapiro. They're all on this very strong moralistic campaign where you could so see the future, the pathways now as a rejection or a reaction to this darker force swinging to a very strong hyper moralistic, hyper Christian pathway of right and wrongs, because there's something very strong within the Christian pathway of right and wrongs, and that really hyper influencing what is morally allowed. So basically, the new version of censorship, but coming in from a Christian realm, which just it has this icky feeling, Campbell, of it going just we're just returning to the last time the Christian way was the way. And you know, all of the I
Yep.
mean, let's here in Australia, it was the Christian pathway that basically were behind the stolen generation, that basically took,
Yep.
destroyed the native indigenous here in Australia and converted them by force and torture to Christianity. And that's in Australia's actual, in our generation and just a few beneath us. Like, the Christian pathway has never presented itself in a way that's any less destructive or any less foul, and any less against human than the darker pathway. So this is why I keep
And
thinking, yeah, go.
I was just going to say, and we look at what's going on at the moment with children and the outrage, with what's going on around children in schools.
Yeah.
But looking to the past, it
Mhm.
was the Christians who ran all the orphanages.
Exactly.
They were the ones taking babies off mothers,
Yep.
like literally taking them away when they didn't
Yep.
want to give them up, doing all this stuff. And so they were the ones abusing the children. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like it's in the history. We know this, so it's very interesting because it's just there's one side, and it's like everyone's like, I don't like that, so I've only got one option, which is Christianity, because that's the opposite. So I'll go there, but believing either is being polarized.
Exactly. And like, we can't like forget that within our Tartarian research, as you just said, like, the reprogramming of the population happened in the asylums, and the children, anything to do with children entering this pre-reset modality went through a Christian orphanage, Christian schools, Christian everything. So
Yep.
we've literally been living we have been living a symbiotic overlay of both polarizations. And as a result,
Yep.
I can totally see, as we move into whatever this reset, this rapture, this awakening, whatever the words, this change of frequency band, I can so see how in that moment the darker consciousness, the satanic consciousness will all be deeply in prayer and ritual for the apocalyptic event, the coming of that apocalyptic event. The Christians will be deeply in prayer, praising Jesus for that rapture moment, the rapture moment. And then there's so they're essentially doing the same thing. And I can see how whatever that event ends up being, they will think it's absolutely in alignment with their pathway simultaneously. And then you have us. You have us, Campbell. You have we little us and our little tribes around the world who have claimed back their sovereignty, deprogrammed themselves from history, and are sitting now basically much more in the space of the observer, much more in the space of kind of neutrality, in as much as, we can see how those two pathways are very similar, even though they're presented very differently. And what was I? Yeah, we were talking the other day. Campbell and I went and, yes, we've just rebuilt the perches of the chicken coop. So now we've got real life metaphors for you, as Campbell is now around. And so to do that, we had to go and get some branches, some dead branches. So we had to walk into nature. Now, we've talked about nature as the organic template. So, of course, nature has no religion. Nature's not Christian or Buddhist or satanic in any way. Nature presents itself organically, and within that organic template, there are things that can hurt you. and bite you and scratch you and even kill you. There are things that can delight you and make your frequency higher and bring you lots of joy and comfort you and support you. And they simultaneously exist in this organic template of nature. So as we walked through the bush yesterday, we had to do it with reverence, right? We had to be mindful in our footsteps. We had to be aware that there were lots of thorny bushes that were going to stab us in the eye. We had to be aware of snakes and goannas. We had to be aware of the trees and the branches that were moving and how they moved. At the same time, we were getting free resources and we were being gifted the things that we needed to, build our chicken coop. And all of that happened simultaneously. So like in a neutral modality, like Campbell and I weren't going, that hurts us, therefore you're evil, therefore we must destroy you, therefore you suck, and you are part of the dark. We were saying, you hurt us, so we have reverence for you, so we are going to be mindful and zen in how we move around you, and you have a role in this biosphere, this ecosystem. And to the good things, we're like, we really enjoy you. We know we can eat you. We know that we can like gain benefit from you. We can, so I just bring that metaphor forward because standing here in the middle of this pathway of, the dark or the light, the good or the bad, the Satan or the God, the demon or the angel, the Jesus or the devil, like you have got human beings within the organic template who would claim neutrality on either of those sides, just in their everyday lives, Campbell, just in their everyday footsteps and movements.
Well, I mean, this is what polarization is. If you spend your time focusing on just one side, and you deem that that's correct, and so that means that everything else is incorrect just by default. Well, you're kind of stuck. You can never learn, can you? Because what happens is you've literally put that thought in charge as positive or negative.
Yeah.
So if you're a Christian, then you've put God in charge or Jesus, and they're positive. So therefore, anything against that is negative.
Yes.
So you're just going to react, no, that's negative, you suck, kind of thing. But you can't ever learn. You've put yourself in a box where you can't ever learn anymore. And if you do read the Bible, it says, leave no stone unturned, ask and it will be answered, knock on the door will be open. So it is actually all about questioning and growing. But when you get into the religion, it seems to be the opposite. You're not supposed to interpret the Bible yourself, You need a man in a dress to do that for you, to tell you what it means. And saying all this, Kelly asked me this morning, like, when was the Bible written, before or after Jesus? I mean, Jesus wasn't a Christian. Sure, we can talk about the Old Testament, but there's dates and there's conjecture about that and when it was it before or after? But basically, they tell us he was a Jewish person. He wasn't a Christian. And so, this is the thing, like, if you're following the life of Jesus, are you even a Christian? Where did he get his beliefs from? Judaism and all this kind of stuff. So religions are they're run by men.
Yeah.
This is what they're run by men, by humans. And we know that Jesus didn't write the Bible. He as far as we know, he was illiterate. That's what they say. There was, the first books were written 30 years after he died, and then, it was compiled, and then it was all.
And it's
300
always
books of
like,
tape,
according to Matthew, or according to
yeah,
Luke, or according to Peter, we don't really
So,
believe you. We just say, according to you. Like, it may not be the truth, but according to this entity here, Jesus walked on water, for example.
And there's verses in there where they talk about the same, event. Like two or three of them, they'll talk about the same event, but they've all got different perspectives. They're all telling you different things, right? So just through that, are we even getting the real story?
There's so many. And I'm sure if we were interested in looking at Satanism or this darker consciousness, we would find just as many issues with the storyline. I don't even know the actual storyline that gets taught to someone in, say, a satanic church. And I'm sure most of us wouldn't know it. It's probably kept quite hidden as part of its process and ritual nature. But we could tear both apart because we actually don't know much, and these stories are have very loose, if any, actual evidence to say that they are based on any sort of truth, fact, or expression that was viable in this physical realm post this last reset and beyond, really. So I mean, to me, it's not hard, right? Like, it's not hard to choose the morality of being a good person, being a kind person. This is organic and natural to us. Look after each other, be in relationship with each other, form family and community. That is so also organic to us. Don't murder people, don't kill, don't torture, don't rape. That's all very organic and natural to us. Like, those are extreme polarities. And the freaky thing is that they feel like they are just that it just feels like it's the next reset pathway. Like, we've had 200 years of this satanic energy building up, this dark energy building up, which seems to be connected, yes, truly, to real demons overlaid in this reality, truly real demons, and real entities causing a lot of problem and feeding of us. And then on the other flip side, we've got, yes, I would say true angels and true angelic beings, and yes, potentially feeding on us, and they exist in the other side. But at the end of the day, we could easily now flip as a rejection, as a reaction, as a polarized flip from all this darkness and evil that's about to be exposed to the world. If you haven't already heard about it yet, soon enough will be exposed. Everyone's going to be traumatized and horrified and freaked the fuck out. And you can then see how easy it would be to push everyone to the Christian pathway. Like, it's all right. That was all the dark, satanic, awful, terrible, awful, like, move away from it and go towards God and Jesus and the Bible. Now, one thing that I have observed in my darling friend, who, if she's watching this, I fucking love with all my heart. And I hope she is absolutely comfortable with me talking about this, is that it's her faith that has actually grounded this sense of joy and happiness. Like, that she has found absolute faith in an expression or a pathway that for her absolutely is the truth and works, and wants me to let Jesus into my heart, because she feels like it is like the way, and everything else is like a satanic inversion or programming. So I've had to take it seriously, as in really look at this, possibly really wrap my head around it in respect and honor to this friendship, right? But the faith is an interesting one. So you have like all the Hollywood, all that whole crew who do the whole satanic shit. They've done so many horrible things and pulls it off for so long, and allow and been quite content going into public and being completely revered and idolized and loved purely and openly by millions of people, and then go home and eat a baby or do some horribilistic ritual. They've carried that. And and then you've got, the Christian pathway where, like, beautiful, beautiful communities, beautiful beings, beautiful positive energies coming out of, like, and I've been around the Christian communities a lot, and they're great. Like, seriously, you get so much love and community and support. Like, it really does bring in that relationship with humans and community and families and babies, and really amazing, right? So, but what they both have in common is faith. So, great success when you have faith in Satanism. Great success. You get a lot of support financially. You become very successful as a human being. Great success when you're a Christian, have faith. You have beautiful relationships with family and community and your partners and your kids, and great success. Faith is a big, it's like the energy that pushes a movement forward. And we saw when Trump, like the whole Trump movement, which, to be fair, could absolutely be a psyop, and Q could absolutely be a psyop. And like, we saw the push with the patriots in faith of Trump to return to Christianity, massive push that Trump was a savior according to the Bible. And they all had faith.
He was even being compared, with JC. Like, he was.
Yeah.
He was the savior. And it's interesting that he has just been indicted or arrested or whatever the hell's going on. Because now there's kind of a split in the party. You know, they've got DeSantis, who half the people want him instead of Trump now. So I'm almost thinking, are they sort of doing that to Trump to, you know, get some points right from his supporters? Oh, poor old Trump, well, we'll better support him instead, you know, because that's the one they want in. Who knows, right? It's all, it's all. The thing is, it's all a script, and what
Yeah.
we were talking about is when this turns, which it looks like it is, because you look at the news, the social media, suddenly it's God, 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 God everywhere,
Yep.
Christianity, Christianity.
Yep.
Like, what do we think the end point of this is going to
Yep.
be? You know,
Like it
we've been
always
through this.
is. Why is it going to be any
Inquisitions all
different?
running around, and the witch hunts,
Yep. The
right? All
witch
this kind,
hunts.
the witch hunts were by the Christians, the
Far out,
Inquisition was
man.
by the Christians,
Yep.
and they were just running around killing anyone who
Yep.
didn't meet their standards.
All the genocide of the indigenous around the world were at the hands of the
Yeah,
Christians. Around the, it's the
all of it.
Christians
Yeah,
that have coveted all the knowledge and information and burnt
yep.
the libraries and like put everyone into the dark ages quite literally. You know, like,
Mm,
and look, there's no argument that the religion of Christianity is as, you know, is as
yeah.
destructive as any other. But this
You could
was
argue
not
it's more destructive than others, you know,
more
but
destructive. But my darling friend would argue that this is like those who have truly found Jesus do not consider themselves religious Christians. They don't consider themselves part of the church. They consider
no,
themselves ones that have reverence for the way and the truth through Jesus Christ, and that all that other crap that goes on around that is beside the point. That this is the
mm,
pathway, and I have to I mean, this is the bit I want to talk about. This is the bit because within our sovereign middle ground here where we all stand, well, most of us stand, um, it's not it's a hard pathway, Campbell, because as you've seen me in the last couple of episodes, I've been grumbly, right? And it's because I don't like I basically felt like I'd lost faith and that I had like didn't know what I was putting my faith in. Like is and you know, what is it? Like is this God creator source mere pixels versus molecules? Is it just another simulation overlaid? Like we actually and it's really hard to know what to put that ultimate faith in, that you still manage to wake up knowing there's a pathway that is truth and you can have love, reverence, and faith for it. When you are like basically dropping any attachment to, you know, these extremities, these polarizations of Christianity
mm,
or Satanism, religion, or the new age, or whatever. If you drop
mm.
all of that, then your faith has to come in a really sovereign fucking way, man. Like you've got to really like it cuts out all of the support mechanisms, all of the crutches, all of the books. Is there any book?
Sounds
Is
good.
there
Yeah,
any book that you can go to bed at night and read, Campbell, and go, okay, yep, just reassuring myself, I'm on the path, I'm on the path. There's no practices, there's no rituals,
Celeste
there's no
prophecy, not
prayers.
really.
Yep. There is
Yeah.
no ritualistic behavior when you are in the middle of all this and not associating in either way. Does that
Mm.
mean we are I mean, where does that lead us? What is it you have faith in, my friend? What is your
Well,
faith?
this is my faith is in myself and in a creator. It's a non religious creator, I guess. It's just but the thing with our path is we have to look inside, right? And we have to look at nature and things like this. And something, you know, if you go to talk to a Christian and say, well, I'm God, they'll think you're the devil. Like literally, you can't.
Yep,
That's you know you can't do
of
that
course
if you're
not.
a Christian.
Sacrilege, absolutely.
It's outside of you. You
Hmm.
have to put your faith in something outside of you. And I always, you know, I always just wonder, right, like how these new Christian denominations and
Hmm.
churches and that, you know, where they really come from, because every little bit of information they have has come from the Bible. It has to
Yeah.
have. And that Bible came from formalized religions. And now they're saying, well, that's all crap, but we're going to keep what we want, our
Mhm.
weird one. But but basically, the main thing is we have to find the faith ourselves, in ourselves. And we kind of have to rely on ourselves.
Oh,
And
it's
when we get
tough.
down, we have to find that connection
Tough call,
through
man.
ourselves to the Creator.
Yeah.
We can't go through a church and through a priest. See,
Yep.
how much easier is it if you could just go to a priest
Yep.
and they say, oh, say 4 Hail Marys and everything
Yep.
will be fine. And if you believe that and that releases all that, like your friend, right, releases all the stress and everything's fine, then that would be a good feeling. But I mean, I just, it's just not real for me. So we have to go deeper, and
Yep.
it's really the path of non-polarity. When we're not saying Christianity is right or wrong, or it's the opposite is right or wrong. We're saying they're just both polarities. They're just religion. They're just someone's way of explaining life and how you get through it. That's all it is, really. Where we are sort of trying to find out our own explanation for that and walk our own path.
Oh, mate, it
Because
is.
literally that's the difference. I would say
That
is that you're going to put
it's a
your
big
faith in
fucking difference.
yourself or
Yep.
outside of yourself.
So hard, Campbell. Like I can say it's
It
so
is.
hard to like to have faith
It better be
in
worth it, man.
yourself. Oh my God, to have faith in yourself. Wow, like that's like the ultimate sovereignty. Like that would be akin to
Well, it is.
ultimate deprogramming. If you can get to a point where you
Mm.
have absolute faith in yourself and there's footsteps that you put in front of you day by day, that to me would be all of the programming, because it's not just about deprogramming from the information, it's about deprogramming from the negative thoughts that run through our minds 24/7.
Yes.
Like, and those negative thoughts, like
Mm.
we are, and they're not our thoughts, because we are the observers of, we are the observers. We are, those are not, they've come in from somewhere. The negative chatter, the I'm
Yeah.
not good enough, the self-criticism, the all of it, every single thing. We all have lots of it. We all have lots of garbage that floods our beings all the time, which rock our faith in ourselves. And I would say to walk this realm as a sovereign being with total faith in oneself and their choices and their literal footsteps forward. I mean, to me, that is the awakened. That is the awakened. Like that
Well,
to me.
mm.
But it's so much harder,
Yeah, it's
Campbell.
not
Oh
as
my God.
easy, you know, because we have to rely on ourselves. Like if stuff goes wrong, we have to take responsibility and go, okay, well, what was I doing to either create this, or where did I go wrong? And we have to fix it. Like we can't go to a church and say 4 Hail Marys and have it all go away. Like
Yeah.
we have to be responsible for our lives, and that's the big thing. And it's fine to be part of a religion and that, but we know what religions are like, right? Like if you need help and you rock up and what happens if you say the wrong thing, or you've changed a bit of your life and they've decided that, no, sorry, you're no longer a Christian.
Yeah.
We're not going to help you now because you don't follow our rules. And that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
let's say it like it is, right? If you were a Christian, and you were married and you were living the Christian lifestyle for 20 years and you had a child and it was the present and they were into TikTok and they turned up, your son turned up to church in a dress one day, guarantee he's not going to be accepted in.
Yeah.
He's not.
No.
He's going to be run out of the church because he doesn't comply with their rules.
Yeah.
And so this is the difference, is we make our own rules, but we have to bear the consequences of those as well. So we have to be very, astute in what we believe and what we do, because,
Yeah.
and this is sovereignty at its core. It all comes back
Yeah.
to us.
And you've got to apply that beautiful big mind of yours and that beautiful big heart and that beautiful big energy simultaneously. Like there's no book to rely on. There's no leadership in that space. Like that is your own leadership. It's so much more it feels so much more powerful to me and so much bigger. Like that's how it feels. It feels like it's a big thing to achieve in
Yeah.
oneself, to deprogram from all of the information and then to deprogram from all of the crazy monkey mind chatter that goes on from you in your being onto you. onto you,
Mm.
and to understand that those thoughts, those subtle, I mean, we're talking about subtle energies and subtle thoughts, are not your own. And it's really hard at that level to separate,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so difficult. And you don't have an easy way out of that. There's no guidance out of that. You have to just like, and
Just to
this is
work
where
it out.
because, like, just to go back to like potentially what's coming forward, as we march towards whatever's going to happen next, is you've got this AI agenda. So you've got two things happening. They've
Yeah.
they've pushed the transgender agenda, which of course is absolutely like ridiculous, and in so many ways they've made it so irritating and ridiculous. It's basically genocide. And then you've got, the transhuman agenda, which is coming in through this AI tech, both being pushed by, one would put into the darker consciousness, the satanic lefty sort of consciousness, which
Mm-hmm.
would then the most basic, what would be the easiest way to manipulate a population, the truth seeking population, towards a pathway that's the same thing but just looks different, would
Yep.
be then to
Mm.
have that counteractive presentation in the Christian religion. Like, of course, you're not going to say, yes, transhumanism is a brilliant idea, let's do that, or yes, like transgenderism and no pronouns and women are known as men, it's a brilliant idea, let's do that. Like, they're both ridiculous and
Mm.
anti-human. And of
Yep.
course the church is going to flourish as a result of that programming and pathway. Flourish, Campbell.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the churches are embracing it. I think even the Pope, I think even the
Of
Catholic
course.
popes did had some drag queens or something in.
Yep.
And see, I mean, and this is the thing, because when we look at it, and we talked about the history of Christianity and what they've done, neither of these sides seem to be from the light, do they? Really, when you get
No.
down to it, do we think that the light or the creator or God or whatever, label we want to put on it, do we think that that entity or whatever it is someone who wants to tell us what to do? You must
No.
go down here and you must do this,
No.
or else you go
No.
and burn in hell for eternity, because that's literally what they teach. If you live your one life wrong, you burn in eternity in hell for eternity. So if you and of course they don't believe you choose your parents or this, it's just random, right? So if you get born into a poverty-stricken household with a abusive father and alcoholic mom, and you have no options, and you're on the poverty line, what chance do you really have to learn and to grow and ask questions and even to find these things? So it's a bit it's a bit harsh, really, right? That
Yep.
Christianity, you get one go, you
It's
don't get to
black and
choose.
white.
Someone's
Mm.
born, the son of a preacher, right? And they get basically the same chance as someone who's, born in poverty to
Yep.
abusive parents.
Yep.
That's crazy. So is that,
Yep.
but then we're taught that it's a loving God. It's a loving God. We're all treated equal. We're all created perfect. But if you don't follow these rules, then you're going to burn in hell. So to me, they both don't look like they've been created from the light. They look like they've been created by men, as control systems. And it looks like the light is the non-polarized through the middle, which is us exploring ourselves and who we are and getting our own connection to the creative force.
Mm.
To me, that is the way of the light. And the
Mm.
other, because someone said to me the other day, it's like the pyramid, just a triangle. You've got your left and right on the bottom, and the middle path through the middle, which is the
Mhm.
apex, right?
Mhm.
That's where we're
Mhm.
all going.
Mhm.
So this is the thing, like it's just switching from one negative to another as far as
Yeah.
I see it. And I'm probably
Yeah.
just offending a million Christians at the moment, but
Well,
this is,
nah, I think it's good
we're not
points to
trying
talk
to.
about.
This needs to be discussed, because
Yeah.
if you can't discuss, your religion, and you can't have questions about it, then you're totally in faith. You don't. It's not based on anything but what some other
Mm.
person has told you. That's
Mm.
that's clear.
Mm.
If it's based on research and experience and that, then you can have a conversation with someone who
Mm.
says, "Well, what about this?" and "How did Jesus rise from the dead?" and all this kind of stuff. You can have that conversation. But if you've just been indoctrinated, all you can do is say, "Oh, you're the devil. Get out of here."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
which
So
is
it's very black and white.
a dark way to treat. Yeah, that's a very dark way to treat people.
Yeah.
That's not of the light at all.
Yeah. So then we look at our pathway, this middle pathway of the observer. We acknowledge that there's a demonic overlay on this realm. There's a demonic overlay on this realm. Like fact, like it exists.
Yep.
There are demonic overlays
Yep.
of potentially whole realms of demonic overlays that are somehow able to connect into this
Yeah.
this false realm. And we were talking about that, Cam, when we look, it's like all the things that you would usually
Yeah.
utilize to get rid of demonic energies have been systematically removed from our reality. One example would be the bells.
Yes.
All the bells.
Bells.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we were talking about dogs, because
Dogs.
Jerry, in this interview, Jerry was saying that dogs would just go sick at these people that that were hearing voices and had mental illnesses. Dogs didn't like them, and we know, what did people use to protect their homes and their all these kind of things, their villages? Dogs.
Yeah.
Is that because dogs can sense these we have?
Yeah.
We don't have dogs. A lot of places you're literally not allowed to have a dog unless it's one of these little pug things.
Yeah, it's become
these fake
very
dogs
dog
that
friendly.
they've
Yeah, genetically
created.
modified dogs
Genetically
everywhere.
modified, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
they can't sniff out. They don't know. So that's been taken. The bells have been taken. The frequency from the cathedrals has been taken. So it's like there's been this slow, just taking apart everything that can detect these entities or drive them away. And they've slowly broken it down. And now we're in a place where not only are we exposed to it all, but a lot of these things that people are told are the light are the exact opposite.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So systematically, as they deconstructed the old world, whether that was the last 1,000 years of golden reign or not, that's another question.
Yeah.
But systematically, they've deconstructed the realm to remove anything that seemed to impact frequency, basically. And we know that, like, the Tartarian consciousness that we look at is very frequency specific. Like, it's very, their technology, their architecture, their presentation, it was always appeared to be quite high frequency, high vibration, beautiful, aesthetic, aligned, balanced, health giving, life supporting. And they've systematically deconstructed that, and at the same time they've reintroduced all the children, and they had a massive hit on lunatic asylums. And we did a whole show about that a while back, looking at the lunatic asylums and how that connected with this idea that may have been where they were literally experimenting on human beings and how they can actually manipulate their seals, their energy body, and allow these energies to come in. And they come out worse than ever, tortured and maimed, and everything about it's torturous, and opens up a lot of, because the demonic realm seems to correlate obviously with trauma. So so obviously pushing anything that causes trauma was going to encourage and enable that sort of frequency drop. And we know the last 200 years, the last 3, it's been traumatic. One traumatic thing after another, after another, after another. That never ends, never ends, never ends, never stop, never stop, never stop. Trauma, 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 everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And, like, we go along with our little lives until some natural disaster happens or something happens. But, there's trauma going on to mass populations and continents and countries and, cultures all the time. It's never ended. Everything like that is all torture creating, traumatizing energy drops. And then, of course, they've done it with our food. They've taken everything, genetically fucked it up, modified it, poisoned it. They've done it with our water. I mean, we've talked about all this a lot before, but obviously this has all been a massive attack on frequency. So this is an interesting question, because when you have faith in something, like with all your heart, that's a high frequency, right? Like, when you have faith in something with all your heart, and you've let go of your stress, your struggles, your worries, your doubt, your confusion, your conflict, your questions, your chaos, your confusion, all of that sort of disappears when you finally said, yep, I have faith in this. Just like when we kind of hit Tartaria, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I have faith in this pathway, you know, like I can see evidence of it's all around me. I love this. I have faith in this pathway in front of us, wherever it's going to lead. It's very clarifying. It gets rid of a lot of the chaos in your head, and you end up moving into a high frequency, whether that be in worship to a dark demonic force or in worship to a light angelic force, whether or not they are the same frequency bands or the polarized opposite, but end up getting us to the same end result. So I guess that's what I wanted us to kind of get to with this conversation. Like, love the Lord, love God, love Jesus, love the devil, love Satan, love Lucifer, and you're kind of basically still sitting on the same frequency band. However, love yourself. Holy shit, Campbell. Now, that is an entirely different frequency band, right? Like that literally is something completely out of this realm. It's out of this realm. Just to love yourself, so difficult, so subtle, so mature, so wise, so hard, so chaotic, so beautiful, so terrifying, like all these things, right? Just to love yourself. That's
I think I mean, this is the big question, is why are we all here, right? All these religions are basically, have sprung up, for control, but also the questions they try and answer, the carrots they dangle are, what happens after death? Because we don't know, right? This is really it, right? Like, what happens after death? What happens? Oh, well, if you do this, then it'll be good. If you do this, you'll get this and all this. And so people, they're not focusing on living. And I've said it a lot of times, we're physical. We've got enough time to be just spirits and floating around, but we're here to have a physical experience.
What do you mean they're not living? What do you mean they're not living?
Sorry, who's not living? What did I say?
When you said they're not, they're when you focus on something outside of yourself, you're not living.
When you focus on something else, what did I say? So when you put your faith in something outside of you, that's not you. That's not you, right? So it's based on secondhand information. It's not something that you've experienced. It's your priest has told you, or you've read it in a book or something like this. So you put your faith in something, but that's different from going through an experience and having, an epiphany and learning things, or doing the work, right, on yourself. Because with religions, they kind of they want to step sideways of that. They don't, like I said, you can't tell them that you're God. I mean, that's satanic, right? They'll
I mean,
hissing at you, but so if we're just here to experience, then is there, like you said, is there any difference in reverence and faith and all this thing as far as what you learn in the vibration, no matter what polarity it is? Because it's the same, right? It's just left or right. But going, through the middle and relying on yourself is completely different. So it's almost like they'll still learn a bit and go up a bit, but it's an easier option, isn't it, than going, well, I'm responsible for everything.
And it's risky.
It's my fault. If it stuffs up, I have to fix. That's a completely different energy. And
it's risky,
it's harder,
too.
but I think when we come out the end, it's a bigger jump. Of course it is, right?
Well, it's risky when you do that, because obviously you're if something goes wrong, like as in if Jesus, like something happens with Jesus, and they project blue beam Jesus into the sky, which would be appropriate right now over Satan and to save us from some whatever false thing that's happening. Like you're going to have faith in this presentation, and then like somewhere down the line, if you're still truth seeking, you're going to understand that was like a lie. Well, and that's just one shallow example, but when you put your faith in this idea, then in any direction, no matter what, it's risky business, because it can be
how many people
wrong.
Do you think put their faith in priests and went there and confessed to them and all this, and then 20 years later found out that they weren't the person they thought they were, right? Like, this has been happening all the time. They're all getting busted for, we'll just say, nefarious acts. And these are the people
Mm.
that people are trusting, and they're taking their advice and all this. I mean, so if you do that for 20 years and then you find out that that dude's actually the devil, you know, this is the
Yeah, like the
problem.
Dalai Lama,
Yeah, exactly right.
Mother
People
Teresa.
revere him and all these kind of things, and then you look
Mm,
into it, and the Dalai Lama's up there with the World Economic Forum.
mm,
He's mates with everyone, right? I mean,
mm.
that's got nothing to do with the light, the creator. That is completely the false creator, because that's the opposite to nature, right? That's the L, right? The electronic takeover, which is this overlay, which is, why we get back to nature is, nature's where you can see the creator, you can see the creation, you can see the good, you can see the bad. But like you said, you don't see a spider and go, oh, that spider's poisonous, and then like go out and just start spraying all the bush so you can kill all the spiders, right? You just go, I'm just going to stay away from that spider, because
Yeah,
you
and you accept its
understand that it's all
place.
good
Yep.
and bad,
Mm,
but
yep, yep,
and
yep.
you don't have to hate. But when you get into religions, it's like, well, you do. If it's that's satanic. If they don't believe our caste, then that's bad. That's satanic. That's the
Well,
dark side.
and also it's not like we're just talking religion here, because it's just like bodies of belief structures. Like, if you've been
Mm.
powerfully engaged with the law of one, or the laws of the universe, or the universal laws, or law of attraction, or like the way, or NLP, or any of those, like, same topics, like it's still the same thing. Like you're
Yeah,
utilizing pathways and knowledge, I guess, into your life experience. But like, does that, like, it's the end result of that you have suddenly understood that the only one required for you to love and have total reverence and honor and faith in is actually yourself. Like, does it lead you to that conclusion? And no, the answer is absolutely not. Like, you feel dependent on like a practice or a discipline, or a process that you've been given that is meant to be the way to live your life accurately, no matter what it is.
mm.
And I've done heaps of that stuff. I fucking love a good cult, Campbell. I've done it. I've done the Buddhist religion, the Buddhist nun. I've done all sorts of things. I've looked at everything, looking for that awakened pathway where I could sit myself and know where I stand, and know with sovereignty who I am, and know my I'm going to say destiny, but my know the bigness of my being as I am here on this realm, and how that is fundamental to all of reality. Like our individual existence is essentially the be all and end all of reality, according to our experience. We are it. We are the realm. We are the realm.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
we.
and this is where it all sort of makes sense. Like the middle part that we're talking about, like believing in yourself, and we are part of the creation and God and all this. And we're not saying that we're the supreme God. We're fractals of God, right? We've got that energy in us, but that also means that if we're fractals of God, there's only one, right? We're all one anyway. So whatever this, and they say this in the Bible,
Mm,
right? Whatever you do to another, you do to yourself.
yeah.
But these are the things that they don't teach these teachings in the church. I mean, they pick, and I'm pretty sure and I haven't been to, church or not paid attention for years in it, but I think they don't go through the whole Bible. They love to just cover the stories that have the messages that they want to portray. But there's so much in there. And so this is why the Bible, I think the Bible's a good book. It's a history book, but it's got a lot of good stuff in it. But only if you're interpreting it yourself. It's only got value in what it means to you. If someone else tells you what it means, it's got no, it doesn't, that's their experience, right? And this is the
Mm,
problem, is that religions are so externalized.
mm,
It's so externalized. Like, this works, for me, so do this. Someone outside you will pray for you, and that will, get rid of your bad thoughts or whatever. It's always, you don't have to do anything. And by the way, this is very similar to the MAGA movement.
I
Is it
know.
not?
Yes.
just sit down and trust the plan. You don't have to do anything. Someone else will do it for you.
Campbell, are you saying that Christianity is a psyop? Is that what you just said? He said it, not me. He said. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the reason we're bringing this up is because I believe that we're about to go through now a shift in the narrative of what is reality out there, that's going to push lots and lots of people towards the Christian path and be presented in a way that either you're going to choose this way or that way, and that's it. If you do not accept Jesus into your heart, do not accept Christ into your life, then you are basically, missing the whole point. You're not getting it. You're not smart enough, and you're kind of fucked. So, like, yeah, you're going to be like in this really strange fringe realm. And I just think that with all the AI and the transgenderism and everything that's going on out there in the narrative, it's all leading to that. I think it's going to lead to a very Christian moral internet censorship. I think we're going to get a flip into censorship on that direction. I think the internet potentially will be reset and reemerge under the watchful guise of maybe a Christian council, something like this. We're going to see a big surge of Christian morality be presented as the only way, the right way, the only way. And it's going to be magnified massively after we get any form of disclosure on the darker pathway. And, and like for lots of people, it's going to set you right back at the beginning. Like you're going to get reset into this new program that's going to give, like, basically all of this amazing work we've all done is going to get reset under the Christian guise. And, then it's like you're back in another belief structure that's really epic and fucking annoying, because it's like, I mean, if it is
it's going to be just as bad, yeah.
And if it is a psyop, as in, if it truly is a psyop, as in everything's a fucking, and I'm not just saying Christianity, I'm just saying everything out there is a freaking psyop. Like, if it's going to be that big of a movement with no actual evidence or no actual anything, once again, then we're looking at, just another fucking huge, painful, heart-connected, confusing program that is going to play out all over again. Take two, the next reset, the new pathway. It's going to be Christian. It's going to be of the light of God, and you're going to be in exactly the same situation.
It's going to be Puritans. If you don't toe the line, and look how fast the whole trans agenda popped up. So you can imagine within 2 years, literally.
Yeah.
They may be doing God knows what to people that are like people. Maybe you're in a relationship, right? You're living with someone, but you're not married. You could have people knocking on your door, like literally. Like this is what happened in the past.
Yeah.
We've mentioned the witch hunts and all this kind of stuff, but we know if you didn't toe the line and you weren't the right, you weren't obeying all the rules, you weren't accepted. You weren't let into the church. They didn't want to help you.
Disco, yeah, I've just changed my lighting. I hate being inside.
It's the light coming down.
I hate being inside. I'm feeling blinded by this thing in front of me. It's not natural. I don't like it. I want to be outside.
It's hell.
Yeah. So I guess as far as our Easter discussion goes, I think it's appropriate, because once again, we're about to have another like yearly ritual play out around us of this. And that's what is also really weird. You can say from our perspective, we have been basically under the leadership of demonic entities. I mean, I can say that. I believe that. That has been our whole experience since the Tartarian realm, or whatever it was, but since what we have studied, and to say that it existed, we've been under the leadership of demonic forces. At the very same time, we've had all the Christian holidays, the Christian rituals, the Christian schooling, the Christian books, but yet the leadership's been demonic. So if the leadership's been demonic, and yet they've been forcing and pushing Christianity into the academic, into the education, into the rituals and the events and Christmas and Easter and all that stuff, like, what the fuck? Like, they've been happening simultaneously and being led by the same energy.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. It's like the dark side. Like they're into the false narrative. They're the shops. They're the consumerism. They're the come and buy all these trinkets and things, these possessions, right? That'll possess you. And what have they done with Christmas? It's no longer about Jesus. Go out and shop. Go out and
Yeah.
spend money. What have they done to Easter? It's no longer about Jesus. Go out and buy eggs, chocolate. That's probably really bad for you. And dress up, go hunt for eggs and dress up as bunnies. So everything's been commercialized. So even if they're I just wonder, like, why would any Christian follow this Easter thing of eggs and bunnies? It's literally, to me, that's completely anti-Christian. They should
Same
be
with
seeing
Christmas. Yeah,
that as
absolutely. Same
demonic,
with
right? They should
definitely
be seeing
same with
that as,
Christian.
as yeah, they should be seeing that as the devil coming in and taking over, but they promote it.
Yep.
Why? Who's running these places?
Yep.
And this is the thing with all the Puritan, times that have been through and cultures and that, the people running them, telling everyone how to live, we know that they're the worst, most immoral people out
Of
there.
course. Of
They go and do
course.
what they want, right? They'll
Of
be out there
course.
drinking and fornicating, but if you walk down the street and hold hands with someone you're not married to, they'll they want to tie you up and throw you in jail.
Yeah,
So
of
this is
course.
because it's all someone telling you what to do. It's
Well,
like you
it's
said, there's
yeah.
only two choices, right? If it's like transgender bad, so your only choice is Christian good. Like if you're only being given two options, you're being told something. You're
Mm.
being told something. You're being led down a path. Unless there's a third option or more, you're being cattle
Yes.
herded.
And because we are creator beings by nature, it's our mandate to make known the unknown. Thus, if you stand in your creator energy and stand as your observer, knowing this, then you have infinite possibilities, potentials, and pathways ahead of you. Infinite. This is not a realm of an ultimate truth. I don't believe it is. I think
No.
this is a realm of delusion and illusion. And inversion. It's not a realm of ultimate truth. There is no ultimate truth presented to us. And if as soon as you catch onto an ultimate truth, you are part of a programming. You are creative beings. As the observer, you stand there with the mandate to make known the unknown. And
Yeah.
as soon as you accept a belief structure, you cease to make known the unknown as a sovereign creator being.
Mm,
And this is really important to talk about because it's
it
going to
is.
be, I think, really confusing to know
And
where you stand when these choices are presented to you. I mean, look at the Islam, like Islam and the whole Muslim part of the world. I mean, are beautiful, fucking smart, amazing, fucking love those people part of the world. I have nothing but fucking reverence for it. And yet, this like version of God has forced all the women to look like demons, to be dressed in black from head to toe in
yeah.
black outfits, showing nothing of their humanness, and it has been enforced and enslaved on. And then you've got same in the church. You've got women forced into violent, abusive marriages. No support. As soon as there's a controversy, no support. Totally protect the evil work so it doesn't look bad on the institution. Like, I mean, that is enforced in the same way. It's quite a torrential, male orientated narrative,
Mm,
the Christian church. And it absolutely puts
completely.
this again, it
Mm,
distinguishes polarity. So we just wherever we look, the only place I do not see it and do not feel it is when I am walking through nature, or said better, walking on the earth and being conscious and mindful of it, interacting with it, um, finding resources and support out of it, trusting it, going within my own guidance to like safely negotiate it and navigate it, and to be at peace with it, and to be aware of the micro world and to be aware of the macro world, and to like
mm,
choose options because of my awareness. I choose to pick up insects and bugs from the shower before I turn it on. I choose to remove spiders without killing them. I choose these choices. And to me, that is such sovereign self-religion,
Mm.
like I've decided on, and the only way I got to those choices, Campbell, is because I was in it long enough to observe it. Like I've been in nature for so many decades now that I actually, when I first got to my first farm, I could deal with like a 10-cent piece spider. Seriously, 10-cent piece was about my limit and it freaked me out and I just like wanted to get rid of them no matter what. And, bugs and insects and mice and mammals and rats and all that stuff was freaky when I first got into nature. 15, 20 years on, like my mind has observed it enough to find peace and harmony within the biosphere and ecosystem around me and all the living energies that exist within that realm. And
Mm.
that to me is finding faith in oneself. Like,
Yeah, I
and
totally agree. I mean, it's like Christians are called Christians because they follow Christ, right? They're supposed to live like Christ lives. That's actually what you're supposed to do, Christians, by the way. And it's interesting, isn't it, that God, the first, Bible, first chapter of the Bible talks about God as a creator, and He created everything. He's a creation. We're the creation. But all
yep,
religions just stifle that creation. You're not allowed to
yep,
be a creator. So
yep,
it's weird, right? Like if you follow God, doesn't that mean that you should be the best creator you can be because
yep.
he's the creator? So obviously to be like God,
Exactly.
you need to be a creator. Like to be a Christian, you need to be like Christ. It's the same thing,
Mm.
but all they do, every single one of them, is restrict us. You can't do this. You can't do that. No, that's wrong. Believe this. Dress like this. Do that. And the whole marriage thing, like literally up into the 60s and 70s, battered women would go to their priests and say, "Oh my
Yep.
God, I'm being beaten up. Please just help me." And
Oh,
the priest would say,
to
"The
today.
best thing you can do is go home and be a good wife,"
Yep.
and
To
stuff like
today.
this.
Hmm.
They wouldn't help. It's still, yeah, no doubt going on today because to them, it's an ultimate sin to get divorced. Well, really? I would think it's more of a sin to tell someone to stay in an abusive relationship.
Fuck yeah. Of
Right?
course. Of course. Like, I guess what I would consider us to be then, as far as an ism goes, would be naturalists. We're naturalists,
The
we
natives.
yeah, natives, naturalists. Yeah. We're
Yeah.
not quite natives though, are we? Like we've come out of
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah, okay. We've risen
yes,
above that.
but the
Yeah, okay.
same energy. Like in being a naturalist, I guess I've never used that word, but I would define it as someone who reveres
Doesn't
the
mean that we
natural, the
get around
organic,
naked.
the nature, the natural.
The
And
natural.
that to me has been the strongest pathway um forward. That has been the strongest lesson in it's what's integrated with no effort into my life, and it's become a very natural thing to do, to work within that realm with reverence and mindfulness.
Mm.
And
Well,
anyone who's in that new earth environment would attest to
mm.
this.
And nature, we have all these quotes in the Bible about God, asking and it will be given, search and you will find, when you're hungry, I'll feed you, all these types of things. That's nature.
Yeah,
That's nature. You want food, go into nature. You want building materials, go into nature. You want something, well, search in nature and you'll
yeah,
find it. Like, try
yeah.
searching in a city. The only
It,
choice you got there
man,
is steal from someone.
if you want gold, go fucking find it.
Yeah,
If you
exactly. It
want
actually does
diamond
still exist in
rings,
nature.
it's all
Yeah.
there. Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
exactly everything you need.
Mm,
But I think it's more about, for me it's more about the observation. Like it's always comes into, where is my observer in this place, and
mm,
I don't find those pathways anywhere else. And I'm not saying they don't exist, and I'm certainly hope there are more, because I'd be very excited to, to see more and understand more of
mm,
how frequency can literally change reality around us, and what it would look like to be in expressing a higher frequency or a different frequency. But like for now, for where we stand today on this Easter day, Campbell, on this Easter Friday, I guess I would assess that for those who are aware of polarization and naturally now swing towards a more neutral perspective, and potentially don't know what to plug into in that space, from my personal life, it has to be nature, and it has to be the self-creator God, basically. And those are the two, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't call them disciplines. I would just call they're the two most natural parts of my being at play when I'm not thinking about it. Like, it's automatic. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, yeah, we're not here to be told what to do. We're here to do something different. We're here to, experience ourselves in life. And we know that the mind is not in our head. It's this sort of, it's a receiver, right, of information. And so we're here to sort through that, right, and make decisions.
Yeah.
And then carry out actions, and half of them will do really badly and stuff up. And then it's our job to learn and to do it better next time. Not to run along to the church and say, "Oh my God, the world's falling down," and have someone say, "We'll go and say prayers and everything will be fine."
Yeah.
That's the easy way out. That is the easy way out. And that when you get that, nothing, you're not progressing.
I hate this light.
When you're being told all this stuff, don't rely on yourself. How can you ever get better? How can you better yourself? This is the thing. So I think it's, and that's what children do, right? They're treating us like children. Rely on your parents. Go and ask authority. It's the same thing as what we get in the legal system. Go and ask, okay, you can do this, but you can't do that. If you do this, you're good. If you do that, you're bad. All these rules. I don't think the creator is about rules.
Or
I mean, look
paperwork.
around.
Or fucking paperwork. Getting baptized.
No
getting
pen
certified.
trees.
Getting married. Paperwork.
No pad trees. No pen trees. Don't exist. Right, and so everything is there for us to take. It's all there, right? Like literally the food, everything. But we've just been conned, and we've told, no, you have to go outside of yourself for everything. So you can't go to your garden for food. You got to go outside to the shop. You can't go inside for answers. You got to go outside to the priest. You can't go, inside and to sort out why your life is so crap and to make changes. You've got to go to the Bible, and you've got to get information from there on how you should live and all this kind of stuff.
Like, I don't feel like I need saving. You know what I
neither
mean?
do
Like,
I
don't
at
feel
all.
that
I
energy at
don't
all.
get it. Like, from what? And this whole thing, like, it's one of the
me
first
from
things they
myself.
tell you as a Christian is you're born with sin. And that's why you've got to work so hard to get back in God's good graces. Why were we born in sin? Like, seriously, everyone just accepts it.
Yeah.
But they also accept they've only got one life on earth.
Yeah.
So what did you do to deserve the sin?
Yeah.
It's clearly just there so to make people think, oh, I need to work hard and get in God's good graces so I can go to heaven.
It's just part of the game of this realm. It's part of the overlay. We have good and bad, light and dark, God and the devil.
Anyway, right?
Lucifer and Jesus. We have an overlay. Always the same leadership, always the same agenda, always the same. It's the same game in this reality. It's the freaky shit is when human beings ascend through both those pathways, through the God pathway and the Lucifer pathway, and actually claim it into themselves as their own pathway. That's the freaky shit that I think everyone's trying to shut down. Like, that's the bit that's going to actually potentially, like, the real thing that's going to change. Oh, look, not even that. Maybe that's the shit that is what becomes your doorway or portal or choice out of this realm.
This is the thing. I don't think we're all going to end up in the same place.
No.
So maybe the decisions we make and the actions we take decide where we go next. Yeah. And if you want to go, so this is the thing. If you want to go into a realm where you've got less decisions, I get less decisions, right? If you want to go into a realm with more freedom, well, take more responsibility. This is the thing. And if you look at this as from the creative point, and God just is a creative energy. Well, He's not judging us. Nothing is actually right or wrong. It's like Shakespeare, right? Nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Like the church, thinking makes it so. That's clearly, that's it. All we need to do is, like, do no harm. Live a good life. Do no harm. Try and help people. Yep. Just the basic stuff, which is in the Bible too. And they kind of gloss over it. Oh, you should do this. You should do this. But then they just, they focus on all these weird parables and shit that don't really have any relevance to life today. People walking around the desert to, whenever. So it's all stories, and I
It's all
guess
stories.
we get to choose what story,
Yeah.
we're going to buy, which is really,
Yeah.
it's like going to a bookshop, Oh,
Hmm.
I'm going to go to the
Yep.
religion section. Oh, there's Tao. Oh, there's Christianity. Oh, there's Hinduism, you know.
And like and for me, it's like it's always frequency specific. Like I know that I could sit down, close my eyes, and blast out light from my consciousness out very far, like very far. Like I could do the whole of the world if I wanted, the whole of Australia, my whole community, whatever I wanted to do. I know that my mental ability to visualize that is instant, and it would be akin to sort of the same thing energetically I could get from having total faith and being in prayer. And it would also be akin to saying, holding up a bottle of Acia and just putting it on my forehead and seeing the frequency of light that comes off it. Like they're all really highly charged frequency events that I'm capable of manifesting. But at the end of the day, it's still all coming from my consciousness out. Like it's my consciousness that's projecting a visual image in my
Yeah.
mind that I then like can push out. And like I'm
Well,
just
this is,
saying that
yeah.
anything that I could get from having faith in Jesus or Christ,
You,
I am already
it's
far
already
beyond
within you.
capable of expressing that
And
already myself, hands down.
doesn't it say that, like, throughout the Bible, you already have everything you need, everything is inside you? So this is the thing, like, they're not actually teaching the Bible, really. This is my perspective. There's all these priests and that they're not teaching the true teachings. They're teaching what they want you to know. That's it.
Mm,
They're just teaching what they want you to hear and what they want you to believe, but to make you more controllable.
mm,
You know, I mean, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with just reading the Bible. Get what you want from it. But as soon as you need someone to tell you how to live, really, I mean, that just, I don't know, that makes me feel weird just saying that, man. Someone
like we're
tell me how to live, man. They're gonna
yeah,
get punched in the nose.
yeah,
Um, but like we said, that means that you've got to take responsibility. It's not like, don't tell me how to live. Oh my God, my life's crap. I'm going to cry in the corner. It's like you have to be responsible, and that's to me that is a step above all of this formalized religion.
yeah.
It really is. Jesus went into the temple and threw over the money changing tables and threw out all the vendors, right? The people trying to sell stuff, trying to sell possessions, like the church promote that you have to go and buy possessions at Christmas
Mm,
and at Easter.
mm,
Jesus was against that
mm,
totally, but Christians run around following this bloody, consumerism, which I find extremely weird. But
yeah.
and so the religions have just become something that they're not.
Well,
There is an essence to
they've
them.
probably always been that, Campbell. They're probably that's their
They're
intention and
compulsive.
origin. It was never anything different from that. We just express it in this culture a specific way, but
And
always
we
the
know that's what
same.
they love to do, right? They
Yeah.
rewrite the books. They rewrite everything and change it to suit their agenda.
Well,
So
didn't
why do
like
we think they wouldn't have done that with religion?
Well, exactly. And if we look at sort of the old stories from like 400, 500 years ago, or into the thousands of years ago, like whenever anything was deemed a god, which would form a religion, it was beings coming offering gifts. Beings coming offering gifts, and like, hello, today's modern consumerism, it's all the same stuff. Like it's the same stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we
Follow
don't
us.
know.
Look, we've got gold. We can do magic. Woo. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, well, I guess we should summarize that because we were like saying we should try to do this in
We're
an
trying to do a short
hour.
one. I don't even
I
know how long
know. Look, I hope you guys have got something out of that discussion because I do feel like it's going to become a discussion that we all are going to have individually, internally, or with our communities
Mm,
moving forward. I think it's going to be really like polarized and presented in
yeah.
a way where you feel like you're not getting it, or if you don't take this into your heart, this Christian energy, you're like, then you've taken the opposite into, it's going to be presented quite black
Yeah.
and white, quite
Yeah. If you
one
don't
two
accept
path. Yeah,
Jesus, you've accepted the devil.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's going to really become a thing, and I think they're really leading that on. And I think if we get any more sort of fake events like COVID, like that's going to, may easily involve the expression of the Christian religion through that. So I feel like it's just a good conversation to have this Easter
Yeah.
as we engage with our ritualistic Christian programming. Enjoy your Easter eggs, like have fun at least hanging out with your family. That's probably the good thing of all these holidays, is
Exactly.
just the
Yeah.
family connection.
Yeah.
Hope
And
you
that's
have a
what we
good,
say all the time. Just spend time with your family, just have
yeah.
fun. Don't
Yeah,
consume.
so enjoy your gluten-free, glyphosate-free, organic,
Your
sour,
carrot eggs,
yeah, like, your completely healthiest version possible of eating hot cross bun and chocolate, which happens in my
which is
household.
what we're getting.
Much to my grumbles. All
Beginning.
right, guys. Well, any last words, Campbell? I think it's a good spot to
Yeah,
end.
no, I just say, yeah, just look inside yourself, you've got everything you need, right? So you don't need to look outside yourself, because clearly if someone's telling you what to do, then you're being told what to do.
And that
They're not God.
sovereignty is going to be called into question. I
Yeah,
truly feel you are
well,
going to be
and
called to know who you are.
yeah, and that's the main thing. Like we do feel there's a big flip going to come, and it's going to go from what we're seeing now, which is satanistic, dark, whatever you want to call it, to this Puritan Christianity sort of thing, but
Yeah.
over the top,
Yep.
over like literally, don't show your ankles. Oh my God, that's half naked. That kind of thing. Like
Yep.
we saw back in the 1600s. What's that? The Handmaid's Tale? Is that show about?
Yes, I never watched it,
I
but
think that
yes.
no, I haven't watched it either. I think it's about that. But yeah, we've seen all this roll out so many times.
Mm.
Like the religions are taken over. They're put out. They persecute everyone who doesn't conform. And then we find out that the people running them are the people who conform the least.
Yeah.
Right? They're the worst.
It's the same game.
If you follow someone, you're going to be led somewhere.
Yep. It's the
I would
same
say.
game. Yep. And yeah, it's a good, strong last statement there from autodidactic. I liked it. I like it. And I don't have a equally strong one, but to say that for me, it's you're chasing your own frequency band. You're chasing your own, like, your faith in yourself. And I think that is just big one. I don't know if anyone in the chat tonight can actually sit there and say, I have managed to achieve total faith in myself, total faith in who I am, in my sovereign knowingness. And I no longer question it or wander from my truth, because I know who I am. I think that is a very, very awakened and spiritual pathway, and tricky business to get to. And I'm not there, Campbell. I'm not there.
No, we're works in progress.
We're all works. Exactly. Nice way to put it. We're works in progress. All right, guys. Well, look, I hope that you enjoyed that little meander on Easter Friday. It's been good to have a chat. Now, one last thing. Don't forget, if you are in the Lismore area, the Brisbane area, the northern New South Wales area, the Gold Coast area, if you're in the Sunshine Coast and want to drive, if you are anywhere near us out here, Tenterfield, Drake, Tabulum, Lismore, Nimbin, Bangalore, Mullumbimby, Murwillumbah, Tweed Heads, Coolangatta, Sunshine Coast, just to name a few. If you are from any of these regions and you have not bought your ticket for Tartaria Australia Beyond, like, you have 1 week left where your tribe is meeting to actually, and we have got the amazing Dale Holmes coming in to speak. As you guys know, we're all pretty much on the same frequency band here. Very sadly, very, very sadly, we will not be having JCK join us this event. She's had family, family issues that she cannot get out of. And so we are not going to
Not going to see it, but we have
see her
found
this show.
some very good people to come in and
Yes.
talk high frequency topics.
100%. Oh, you guys are not going to be disappointed. I know that, like, to remove JC's energy is a massive frequency. And I believe that we have found an equally awakened frequency band to follow in her
Yeah.
footsteps.
And interestingly, sort of more tailored to the Northern Rivers area.
Definitely,
and of course,
definitely.
If you're going to buy tickets and you have been affected by the floods or anything like that, all you need to do is click the more info button when you go to get your tickets, and you'll be taken through to the discount tickets.
Yeah, it's 50% off for anyone affected by the floods or the mandates in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
in
so
support of
it's
the
like if you
community.
haven't had a job, if you haven't been able to work or anything like that, then just click get a half price, all good.
Yep. All
We're
good.
not
All
going to
good.
come and ask you for information or anything.
No, not at all. You
Yeah.
can also pay at the door.
Yes.
If you want to, you can rock up and buy your ticket at the door. No problems. Children are welcome and invited. However, they will be sitting through a long day. So as long as they're happy to do that and you're happy to do that, then no problem whatsoever. We love the idea of children taking on board this information.
Yeah.
And there will be a refreshment stand at the venue. But of course, we're in Lismore. There will be food available. We will also be going out for dinner in the evening, and everyone's invited to join us. Depending on the numbers, will dictate where we're going. And then come Sunday, we will do whatever feels right on the day, weather according, location available. So that's the summary. It's Saturday week. It's Saturday week. I can't believe it's finally coming. And then after that, we're back to Melbourne, everyone, where, of course, JCK will be joining us. And I think we'll slip in a Sydney gig at around the
I
same
think we
time.
literally Sydney. Yeah, yeah. And then
Oh my
maybe
God,
if
I'm
we're
blinded.
back to Brisbane, we'll get in there. Who knows? But definitely Melbourne and Sydney. And we have had a few people, request that we come out. So if you do want us to come out to a regional area,
Yeah.
do send us an email. Obviously, we need to be able to get a certain size audience to make it viable. But yeah, definitely let us know if you want us to come out.
Yeah, damn right, man. We are eager and keen to present this information.
We
The
are.
more people we help deprogram from this illusion, the better.
Indeed, indeed. So, hope you all have an amazing Easter.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure that you're at the event if you're in the region, and we'll see you there. And otherwise, we will talk to you all on the next upload.
Woo! All right. Wait, I'm going to let this stupid light fall. I'm never doing it in this shed again. I love you, everyone. We will see you soon on Tartaria, Australia. Bye.
Stay awesome.
You know those suits and ties, they got no love for what's alive. It's up to you, it's up to me, my human family. The time has come, my friends, to steer your will until it bends. Fill your heart until it breaks. And breathe for goodness sakes, and let it break down. Let it crumble to the ground. Can't stop the love rising within. Our realm could be flowing with joy, and the people will wake and yearn to be free, and the system will break. What makes you feel alive? All those dreams you kept inside. Well, that little voice inside your head, you turn to it instead. You're watching the divide, you watch the conquering of minds. and the people will wake, and you to be free, and the system will break.